So I'm going to be talking about zone-to-zone trading in this video. It's probably the most simplest, easiest strategy that will never get old. Anybody can do it as long as you know how to find good zones and understand exactly what these zones actually mean. Now, this is going to be a very in-depth video on zone-to-zone trading, so make sure you guys get your notes out so that you guys can understand exactly how to use this strategy. Literally anyone can do it. So I don't want to waste your time. Let's hop on the chart so I can explain to you guys exactly what zone-to-zone trading actually is. We're going to be talking about zone-to-zone trading. Now, this is the simplest strategy because all you really need to know is understand how to draw support and resistance levels. How do you draw valid support and resistance levels? So you're going to have a resistance and you're going to have a support. This is how you guys are going to tell if a zone is valid or not. So if a zone is valid, you're going to get a bounce from the support and a bounce from the resistance, a bounce from the support and a bounce from the resistance. Multiple taps to this area here is actually going to validate your zone. Make sure that you guys are drawing this correctly, but you're not only going to have these two zones. You're going to have zones down under here. You're going to have zones down under here. So once price comes down and breaks this zone, most likely price is going to come up to this zone and then reject and come down to this zone. And then maybe, you know, bounce here, then come down and break it, then reject from this zone and then come down to this zone. So this is the whole idea from zone to zone trading, that once you break a zone, you're going to come down to the next zone. And when you break that zone, you're going to come down to the next zone. We would have zones up here and up here. So it's the same thing that we would be using on this level here. We'll be waiting for this zone to break. We're most likely going to bounce, reject off this level here, now come back up. When we break, we're most likely going to come up to this zone. So if we break this zone, we're going to come up to this zone, and if we break this zone, we're most likely going to come up to this zone. This is the whole idea of zone to zone trading. Another thing that I want you guys to understand is that these zones are also reaction levels. Price might not just break the zone cleanly. What it will do is that it'll show signs that it wants to come up, and then it'll react off of this zone. Then it'll come up and then react off of this zone. Then it might break and then go to the next zone. So same thing for the seller side. If price comes down, price is going to come down, react off of this zone, then push down, or maybe bounce from this zone, then come down. So make sure that you guys are understanding all these levels are levels of reaction. If you guys understand that, it's going to be a lot simpler to use this strategy. Now we are going to be doing some back testing so that you guys can see it playing out. When you guys have a strategy like this that's so simple, so easy, it makes it so much simpler for you guys to become profitable. It's not too complicated. Anybody can do it. All right, so now let's hop into the backtesting session now that you guys should have understand zone to zone trading. So right now I am on gold. This is the pair that I usually trade with this strategy. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is just go ahead and minimize everything so that you guys don't know what the market's actually going to be doing. And then you're going to want to pick a random spot. So I'm actually going to be going back in time here. Yeah, we can do this, right? So now we can actually go ahead and zoom in and then see how we can use this zone to zone. So remember guys, when we are looking for zone to zone trading, we want to make sure that we are grabbing valid zones with 3 or more touches that give us a good confirmation. Now I'm only going to go up to the 4-hour time frame because I don't want to cheat here. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to mark up zones on the 4-hour time frame that we do see that are very clear. So I would draw out this zone right here. If you're noticing, tap, reaction, then we get another tap down over here, which is another reaction point, which could be drawn a little bit lower. Right there we get reaction, 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 right? We're expecting a reaction here to the downside. We have potential targets to this area here, which we can definitely see coming and playing out. Then we have our reaction point sitting over here. Then we have a reaction point sitting up here, and then we have a reaction point sitting up here. So these are all the zones that I know that can possibly look to target. If price wants to either come up here, we'll look to break this zone. If price breaks this zone, we'll look to come up here. If price breaks this zone, we can definitely look to come up here. So now we're going to go down to the hourly time frame. Here on the hourly time frame, we're going to want to find just some more levels here that are valid, which will be right over here, which will be this level of support here, and which will be this level of support here. If price comes up here, we could bounce to this area. If price breaks this area, we can come up here. So now on the 30-minute time frame, we want to find smaller zones. We have a zone over here and we have a zone over here. So I want to make sure that you guys are staying on the 30-minute time frame. I don't want you guys going too low in time frames using this strategy because it's going to be a lot simpler for you guys to understand if you guys are strictly just staying on the 30-minute time frame. Okay, this is strong enough for you guys to actually see potential moves play out, but we do need some target levels to the downside here because this is a pretty steep target. So let's go over here to the 30-minute time frame, but we're gonna just zoom in over here. We have this level here, double tap, we're gonna extend right, and then we have this level here as well. Okay, so now we have this target zone, this target zone. We might need another target zone here, so let's go ahead and mark that out. We have this area here, which tons of reactions at this level. So reaction, 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 right? So this is definitely looking very nice here for us to trade this strategy with. We also have this level here. Go ahead and mark that out. And then we have a smaller level here. Okay, so now we're using past levels that can also tell us where price can potentially go in the present. These will be our zones. Boom, this will be a zone down here. So now we can actually look to trade this strategy. All right, guys, so now that we're sitting right here, we're actually ready to start backtesting. Now, when we are backtesting, we want to make sure that we're using the same rules that we would use in the live markets. Now, how do we do this? We are going to be either taking buy stops and sell stops, which is what you guys normally see me doing on my live stream. And what we're going to do is strictly take breakouts. Now, with this zone to zone strategy, you're only going to want to take breakouts because you know that once you break out of one zone, it's going to go to the next zone. It's very simple to understand, but you guys are going to see it all right here. We're starting to come down, we're starting to break. So right there, I would actually be looking for some sell positions underneath this low over here. Stop loss will go right above these highs over here, or breaking out of the next zone. Because if we break out of this zone, what zone can we come to next? This zone up here. So I'll be waiting for this sell position over here. And then what you're also going to want to do with this strategy is go for a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio. So this will be the 1-to-2 risk reward ratio that I'll be waiting to catch. Now price comes up into the range. Remember, this was a sell stop underneath this low, so we just got triggered in right now. Stop loss will go above the highs here. And what zone should we come to next? We should come to this zone and then this zone next. Okay, so we do know that price is using these zones as magnets, so we should be good to go on this position here. Price comes back up, no need to worry. Boom. Now we're starting to form a reaction at this next zone. So right now we are up to R to R. If price starts to come up and bounce at this level here, we're most likely going to come up and tap into this zone here, which is our next newfound zone. Price should come back up and tap into this zone. Let's see what happens. Okay, we tapped into it and look at what you get right there. A beautiful reaction. So now that we've bounced at this zone here, now we can look to take our sell positions at the break of the lows over here, which would be this break of this low. We're going to have some sell stop set. We have to wait and see where we can put our stop loss when we get triggered. We'll definitely be looking to put our target level, which is down over here, which is the next zone that price can actually tap into. We did come up here. Now we're coming down. Entry was taken. Now we can put our stop loss right above this zone over here. This is going to be about a 1 to 1.3 risk reward ratio. We don't want to target any lower. We don't want our stop loss within this candle here because price can easily come back up, respect this high, and then break down lower. We're in the trade here. See, you want to make sure that you have your stop loss right above a candle here. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Now price taps into that zone at the bottom. Now we get the similar setup right over here. Where would we want to come up and tap into if we are zone to zone trading? We should definitely come back up and tap into this zone over here. Now that we have that little wick showing us that price is actually rejecting or respecting that zone, now we can actually look to see if we can sell again below this level to the downside. All right, so clearly it's also a bearish market. Our next zone to target would be this zone down here. So how could we execute? We're waiting for price to come down here. This is also a gambler candle setup, so we could look to take this trade here very, very soon. Oh, I click play. We would have tapped right into the zone, making that zone valid, which is main reason that you guys have to understand zones is that we're not always going to come right to the zone, but we will come near this. All right, so now let's get some more candles. So now we're tapping into this zone here. Okay, so now we can go ahead and get some candles. You guys don't want to trade this zone to zone strategy when you're starting to get a lot of wick rejections, just due to the fact that this is showing you signs of a choppy market, and we don't want to be in a choppy zone, right? We want to make sure that we have clean levels for us to target. So we'll be skipping some candles here until we start to get some clear direction. What do I mean by clear direction? I mean like some sort of trending market or trending market to the downside. That is when we'll be looking to start to trade again. But using this zone to zone strategy, sell it here. I'm waiting for that low to break and then execute. So would I actually take this setup here? No, I would not. The reason for that is because the risk to reward just isn't there. Okay, so the next zone is going to come down. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So it would have actually played out, but our stop loss would have been a little bit too big for my liking. But again, lots of wicks, lots of weird movements here. No real market structure telling us what direction the market's actually going to go in. You guys see all these wick rejections. This is just a nasty, nasty range. So we're actually just waiting. Now we're tapping into our zone up here, right? We're tapping into that zone. So we'll be waiting. Oh, we gapped. So that was market close and then market open. Fine. We're going to have to go ahead and keep searching for new zones. We have this zone here that we tapped into. We have this zone here that we tapped in. What I'm going to do is is actually find my range. Okay, choppy. Remember guys, we don't really trade market open, so we'll be fine if we just miss out on these trades. This zone here. So once price establishes some sort of bottom, which has happened right there, this will be our zone, right? So now we can go ahead and actually delete these zones here and then just use these zones as a reference from now, and then we can look to target our next zone here if price is going to go bullish, our next zone here if price is going to go bullish, and our next zone here if price is going to go bullish. And we have other target zones that we can definitely look to target. All right, so now price comes up. Let's see what happens here. Let me zoom in for you guys. We're gonna come up and target this zone. Very simple trading. Beautiful. Now we're breaking out, so we're gonna actually set some buy stops here. Stop loss just right below this previous candle low, because if price comes down and breaks that candle low, we don't want to be in the trade anyway. And we will look to target our next zone for about a 1 to 1.65 risk to reward ratio, which is a good risk to reward ratio, so we can actually take this position. Remember to buy stop, so now we're in. Price then just shoots up. Didn't quite get there, but we should come up and tap into that zone. Beautiful. And then our stops go to break even. You can leave runners, whatever the case. So now we have this zone here and this zone here. So we broke out of this zone. Now we're bouncing and actually forming a new zone right underneath that zone. So we can go ahead and mark that zone out and see if we can come up here, break highs to come up and target this zone, or break lows. All right, so we'll be waiting for that to happen. Never broke this wick over here, which is why I didn't set buy stops. So now that we came down into this range, we can actually look to sell below this low, stop loss right above this zone. So if we break this low, I'll be in the trade with stop loss above here, targeting our next zone, which is over here, because we're breaking this zone. Now we should look to target our next zone. Beautiful. We're still in it. Beautiful. So that's another winning trade right there. Very simple. Little range over here. We have a zone here. We know we can look to target our next zone. I'm actually going to go ahead and move the zone just a little bit up, just so I can make sure that those reactions don't get in my way when I'm looking to take buy position. Okay, we're breaking up into this zone. Let's see what happens. This candle here is a little bit too high for me to actually take an entry, but if we do know, if we broke this zone, what zone should we come up and tap into? It'll be the next zone, which is sitting right over here. So let's just watch this play out. Beautiful. So now you get that zone tap, you start to get a reaction, and then let's see what price wants to do next. Oh, so what zone should we come up next? I'm actually going to take this one here. Take this one. I would have taken it buy stops above those highs, stop loss right below these lows, and then just looking to target our next zone for about a 1 to 2 or 1 to 1.9 risk to reward ratio on this one. See what happens. Okay, we lost this one, unfortunately. Reason for that is because we kind of bought too much into the range. I would have liked to either buy above this high here or maybe buying above that high, but that's just the reality of trading. You're not going to win every single trade. So took one loss. We have 1 loss, 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins. So not too bad here. Not too freaking bad. Let's wait and see. I'm still looking at this zone here. Once we break this zone that we just created, I'll be looking to take a buy position. Okay, we got that confirmation candle. We need the highs to break here now. So I'll be looking to buy above those highs. So I'll be setting a buy stop above these highs. Stop loss. I don't know where I'm going to put stop loss just yet. And then we're going to have to target this zone here. So this will most likely be like a 1-to-1 trade, because I do want this stop loss underneath this zone, but let's see what happens. We have a buy stop set. Okay, we're actually in that position now. Price does seem like it wants to come back up to tap into this zone, which is all we need. And right there, another winning trade. Very simple trading here. So boom, we're starting to come down here, maybe come back up. So now we formed a new zone over here, guys, that we do need to keep in mind. Price comes up, starts to show us some sort of breakout over here. Oof, big move to the downside. So we could sell below this area here if we get some nice confirmation. Massive candles to the downside here. We can actually look to sell, because remember, we're breaking this zone. We're most likely going to get to this zone and then get to this zone. So we can actually look to sell right underneath this candle here, keeping stops a little bit wider on this position, but right above that previous candle high. Actually, no, we're not going to take. We probably should have been on this move right over here. I don't like it, just due to the fact that there's not a lot of risk to reward coming down to this zone here. I want the first zone to have at least a 1-to-1 target, and then the second zone to be wherever it wants to be. I'll be deleting that one. Let's see what would have happened though. Price would have came down, tapped into this zone, which would have been beautiful. Oh, we should have taken it. Should have taken it. But now we need to worry. There's going to be more zones that will get broken. Boom, we're starting to come back up. We're going to actually set some buy stops right above these highs here. We're going to put stop loss underneath these lows, and we're going to just look to target our next zone for about a 1-to-1. We're in. Boom. target smashed. And then look, if you guys want to continue holding your position, you just target your next zone. You can go ahead and close some profits and move on to the next trade. Beautiful. What a beautiful trade. We're gonna actually move from this zone here to this zone here to see exactly what it wants to do from that zone. So right now we're actually reaching that level. I need a candlestick confirmation, and now we can look to set some buy stops above that high, keeping stop loss below this low, targeting this area up here. Beautiful. Now we're up above this zone, likely the next zone, right guys? Very simple trading. This is exactly how you use zone to zone trading. If you guys can mark up your zones correctly, understand what these zones mean, use them as magnets, use them as targets, use them for stop losses. This is the beauty of zone to zone trading. It's very simple to understand and easy to execute based off of. We did pretty freaking good here. We caught 1, 2, 3 wins, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins, and with only 1 loss. So this was straight back testing though. I didn't know what was happening on the markets. I just really just traded the strategy how I would in my live streams that you guys watch on a day-to-day basis. 7 wins and 1 loss is a very good percentage made, and considering that we also go for it more than 1-to-1s most of the time, could also be that factor that you guys need in your trading. I really hope that you guys took your notes on this video and start implementing this on your own trading, which could definitely benefit you guys. I just really wanted to show how accurate this strategy is for me. It's made me a ton of money, so I really hope it can make you guys a ton of money as well. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys leave a comment with any questions, like the video, subscribe. Love you guys. Peace.